Welcome to the Laughing Horror Podcast.
Good day and welcome back to the Laughing Horror Podcast. I'm your host as always, Kyle Laugh, and on today's show, we've got your news, we've got your releases, and we've got a review just in time for Women in Horror Month of the new anthology film, XX. There's only one thing I'd like to add on before we get into the news today. If you haven't heard it yet, last week's episode of the show, we had an interview with Jeff from us. It was an awesome episode, so if you guys get a chance to, definitely check it out. Now with that being said and done, let's hop into the news. The Conjuring spin-off for The Nun was officially announced on Friday. New Line announced the film is going to be set for release on July 13th of 2018, which, just for a heads up for you guys, it is a Friday the 13th. And it is being fast-tracked in order to be out for a summer release. Other than that, no other information has been provided. So as you may have already heard, previously unreleased Ghostbusters scenes have been recovered over the past week. Ghost Corps, which is headed by Ivan Reitman and Dan Aykroyd, posted on their Facebook page with the quote, "These reels came from a box in Ivan's personal storage, and we're pretty excited to have uncovered some unreleased scenes. There's been no mention of a public release as of yet for the scenes, but if I were to guess, they're likely going to wait till 2019 for the 35th anniversary of the film." Thanks to a collaborative effort between Universal, Blumhouse, and Platinum Dunes, we're going to be getting another Purge film, which is set for release on July 4th of 2018, with James DeMonaco returning to write. He's also going to be assisting producers to find the film a new director. Other than that, nothing yet is known about the film. And what's likely to be my favorite piece of news from this week, Shane Black had come out to say that PG-13 rating is for pussies, which basically tells us The Predator is going to be an R-rated film. As announced previously, Olivia Munn, Keegan-Michael Key, and Thomas Jane have all been casted into the film, and the release date is set for February 9th of 2018. A Cure for Wellness flopped on its opening weekend, easily being beaten out by Fistfight, The Great Wall, and prior week's release Lego Batman. According to BoxOfficeMojo.com, the film's made $4.2 million domestically and just shy of $9 million worldwide. Obviously, this is bad news for the horror community. Failures like this seem to keep studios from wanting to actually make and release horrors, so hopefully we can pick up some steam with the next one that comes out. Due to the recent California rainstorms, which have been causing flash floods, sinkholes, and property damage, Adam Green's Aeriescope is in need of fans' help. The flooding destroyed and damaged a lot of Aeriescope's props and displays, so they're looking for fans to help out with purchases from their store or to take in donations. So if you guys want to help by purchasing something from their store, you can go to aeriescopemerchandise.goodsy.com. There you can purchase signed movies, comics, scripts, and much more. And if you'd like to make a donation, you can do so at that page as well. And that's all we've got for news this week, so let's get right into the releases. First off in releases this week, we've got the film It Watches, which gets its DVD release as of today. It's co-written and directed by Dave Parker, and co-written and stars Ivan Durovic, and also stars Rick Irwin, Sandy Van Heteren, and James Duval. Andre, recovering from a recent accident, agrees to help his friend Robert by taking over a house-sitting job at a creepy home nestled in the hills above Los Angeles. As night comes, the house reveals its insidious nature as Andre begins hearing ominous sounds and experiencing strange occurrences throughout the house that lead him to believe he is not alone and that someone or something is in the house with him. Next up, we have We Go On, which is being released on Shudder Thursday, February 23rd. It's also getting its DVD release in early April. This one's written and co-directed by Andy Mitten and also co-directed by Jesse Holland, and stars Annette O'Toole, Clark Freeman, John Glover, and Giovanna Zacharias. The story follows Miles Grissom, who is offering reward money to the first person who can show him a ghost, an angel, a demon, anything to prove there's life after death. He narrows the responses to 3 viable candidates: a scientist, a medium, a worldly entrepreneur. And along with his protective mother, he embarks on a dangerous adventure through Los Angeles that will spiral into an unthinkable nightmare. Next up, we've got The Girl with All the Gifts, which gets its video on demand and limited theatrical release on Friday, February 24th. This one's directed by Colm McCarthy, written by Mike Carey, and stars Gemma Arterton, Glenn Close, and Paddy Considine. At an army base in rural England, this group of unique children are being studied and subjected to cruel experiments by biologist Dr. Caldwell. Despite having been infected with the zombie pathogen that has decimated the world, these children retain normal thoughts and emotions. And while still being subject to the craving of human flesh that marks the disease, these second-generation hungries are able to think and feel, making them a vital resource in the search for a cure. Next, we've got the film Drifter, which is getting its limited theatrical release on Friday, February 24th, with a video-on-demand release on Tuesday, February 28th. This one's directed and co-written by Chris Von Hoffman, and also co-written by Aria Emery. It stars Drew Harwood, Aria Emery, and James McCabe. The film centers on a pair of outlaw brothers, Miles and Dominic Pierce, in a post-apocalyptic desert wasteland. They're on their way to kill the man who murdered their father. However, their mission takes a drastic detour when their car is hijacked, causing them to take shelter in the eerie town of Demel. The brothers quickly discover the town is inhabited by a family of cannibalistic lunatics and their sadistic mayor, Doyle. Now they must fight for survival to escape the town. And last but definitely not least, we've got the film Get Out, which gets its wide theatrical release on Friday, February 24th. This one's written and directed by Jordan Peele and stars Allison Williams, Daniel Kaluuya, and Catherine Keener. When a young African-American man visits his white girlfriend's family estate, he becomes ensnared in a more sinister, real reason for the invitation. Now that Chris and his girlfriend Rose have reached the meet the parents milestone of dating, she invites him for a weekend getaway upstate with Missy and Dean. At first, Chris reads the family's overly accommodating behavior as a nervous attempt to deal with their daughter's interracial relationship, but as the weekend progresses, a series of increasingly disturbing discoveries lead him to truth that he could have never imagined. Definitely a film I want to be checking out when I get a chance to. So that's all that we've got for releases this week, so we're going to go ahead and get into the review for XX. So first off, XX is an anthology film, with all the stories being written and directed by 4 different women, the first being Annie Clark, followed by Karen Kusama, Roxanne Benjamin, and Jovanka Vukovic. Then here's the synopsis for the film. XX is a new all-female hound horror anthology featuring 4 dark tales written and directed by fiercely talented women. Annie Clark rocks her directional debut with The Birthday Party. Karen Kusama exercises her only living son. Roxanne Benjamin screams Don't Fall. And Jovanka Vukovic dares to open the box. Award-winning animator Sofia Carrillo wraps together 4 suspenseful stories of terror. Considering how new that the film is, I'll try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible, and just basically give you guys a breakdown of each short. So to start with, we've got the box from Jovanka Vukovic, which provides us with an air of mystery from start to finish. After asking a stranger to see a gift inside a box he's holding, young Danny starts to act strangely. Danny refuses to eat anything for days on end, which obviously starts to worry his family. So that's as far as I'm going to go with the description for the boxes. Any more will give away the full story. Although I appreciated the story which was unfolding on the screen, I found myself looking for more information regarding what was happening, but was never able to actually find it, with the ending not even being able to provide me with the reveal that I wanted or needed in order to properly complete the story. So on its own, the box gets a 5 out of 10. So next up we had The Birthday Party from Annie Clark. So to keep it simple, Mother Mary is faced with a heartbreaking dilemma, and she does what she can to avoid having said issue ruin her daughter Lucy's birthday. If the box was our mystery film, The Birthday Party would be considered our horror comedy, in my opinion, and I know the opinions of some others think that as well. The story is very well put together and knows how to draw the viewer into it to see, basically to have you hooked on the screen to see what's going to happen next, and has the ability to keep you hooked there till the last moment as you wait to see what happens. You're also able to really feel for Mary, who is played wonderfully by Melanie Lynskey, and end up almost cheering her on her attempts at saving her daughter's birthday throughout the entire short. So this easily was one of my favorites on its own, and it gets a 7 out of 10. Following this, we had Roxanne Benjamin's short, Don't Fall, which follows a group of friends who discover cave paintings, which leads them all to fight for their lives. As far as storylines go, Don't Fall has the weakest one. There isn't really any build to the story, and there's no real focus on the characters or their backgrounds. And, what should be the build up to the high point of the story is missing. And it's basically replaced with a quick and sudden change of pace, making it feel like we're just witnessing an out of context scene which was pulled from a random film. So on the bright side, however, I do have to commend them on this excellent special effects that they used after the pace picks up. At this point, the short got my full undivided attention. So once again, huge props on that. With that being said, however, I can't really give it much love in the ratings category, so I'm forced to give it a 5 out of 10. Now, last and definitely not least, we have Her Only Living Son, which was brought to us by Karen Kusama. People have been talking about her for a while now, stating how much of an amazing filmmaker she is, and this short alone as an example shows that this is true. The story follows Cora, who is trying to come to terms with her son's new attitude towards others come his 18th birthday. On top of this, the people around town are beginning to act differently around them. Now, the first thing is that they aren't really trying to hide the truth as to what's going on at all, and you can figure it out pretty early and easily what or who Cora's son really is. So to be honest with you, the first thing that will come to mind with Her Only Living Son is probably one of, if not the greatest film ever to come out of the 60s, and that's all I'm going to give to you guys for now, but I can guarantee you will be able to easily put it together once you start watching the short. Next to that, the acting, the storyline, the setup, the effects, that are all damn near perfect, and it's a really good example of a short that could easily be turned into a feature-length film without many issues. With that being said, this is my favorite out of the 4, and I do give it an 8 out of 10, which gives the anthology as a whole an average of 6.25 out of 10 if my math is correct, and trust me, a lot of times it usually is not correct, so do correct me if I am wrong. Well, this is definitely worth a watch if you're into any of the following 4 subgenres of either mystery, comedy, special effects, or story/acting. And for Women in Horror Month, this is perfect to sit down to and enjoy, and considering the fact that I typically don't like anthology films, I think this was pretty impressive. And on that note, I cannot forget to mention the stop motion segments between all the shorts that was directed by Sofia Carrillo, which are, to put it in simple terms, that are creepy as hell. So definitely worth a look. If you guys can check it out, do so. And that's all that we've got for you today, folks. I know it's been a short one, but it was definitely a good one. I do appreciate you stopping by. And next week, hopefully we'll have a setup for a new interview with a famous actor. I'm trying to get some feelers out there, and hopefully we can catch one and reel them in. So until next time, you guys can always talk to us on Facebook.com/LaughingHorrorPodcast or on Twitter.com/laughing_horror. You can also find me on Horror AMINO, laughing_horror on there as well. Or you can send us an email at laughing_horrorpodcast@gmail.com. So thanks again for tuning in, guys, and you have yourselves a great day. We'll talk to you next week.